I'm trying to do something kind of tricky, so stick with me. What I'm trying to do is put a logo that I've developed in Adobe Illustrator, right place to build a logo, right? And I want to bring that into SketchUp for the web, the free version of SketchUp that runs on your computer through a browser, through like Chrome or something like that. It's a bit of a trick. I've got a video about how to do this on the desktop version of SketchUp, but this is extra different because we've got to bring it into the web. So let's try and I'm going to share my screen. I'll show you how to walk through the steps of this thing. It might take a little bit, so stay with me here. I'm sharing my screen. We're going, first of all, to Illustrator. What I've done is, and it's just worth it to think, I want to make this logo maybe 3 feet wide in my final version. It's going into a model that I'm building in SketchUp on the web. So if I grab my my artboard tool here, I can see I've got a 3 foot wide artboard that I'm working on, and therefore when I build my logo, I know that it's going to be about the right size. The other thing I did is I just wanted to point out that I've gone through using the shape builder tool to make all these pieces one thing. So there's basically 3 paths here. There's the S and the Z, and then the schmut in the middle is all one smudge thing. So you kind of have to spend your time ahead of time in Illustrator building your file correctly. What I'm going to do is export this puppy, export me as a DXF, which is a CAD format, Autodesk Real DWG. DWG worked before. I don't think it works anymore because of a couple of things that they've updated, but DXF works. So I'm going to save logo.dxf in my week 7. You can put that where you want to. I'm just going to leave all this stuff alone and say, yes, that's fine. We'll find out what that looks like once we get into SketchUp on the web. So now it says fine, I've got a logo.dxf file. I'm going in here and I'm going to look at my SketchUp model. Here's my little trade show booth that I've been fooling around with. It's kind of fun. I'm more or less happy with that. But what I want to do is right up here on the wall is put my Schmutz logo on that. So what I need to do is come up here into, I hope you know how to get here. I hope you know how to get into your web version of SketchUp, and you can get into your, sort of SketchUp cloud where you've saved your files, and you can open files on your desktop. Sorry, in your Chrome browser or whatever browser, from your SketchUp library. So what I want to do is come up here in this little hamburger menu there. I see I've got an import option here, and it says I want to import that from my device. You'll notice here it says I'm going to let you import SketchUp or PNG or JPEG files. It doesn't say DXF. But if I click my device and come up here and say there is a logo DXF, you'll notice it's an available format. It's not grayed out, unlike the AI file, for example. And it says you can open that. Now here's what SketchUp does. It says I'm working on the web. You're in California right now, pal. So I got to go convert that file through the cloud. So you say import that as a component, preserve, merge, keep the units, import. And it'll say I'm going to start that conversion. I'm going to import this thing. It's going to take me a few minutes to go think about that. So maybe what I'll do is stop the video at this point and come back if I have to edit this video. We'll get a little green flag right here that tells us that we can then import that, and you'll see it show up. So I'll clip this video to get all this boring stuff out of here. And there it is. We got a little green flag that says, now we've done that work, we're going to import that model. Import, and it says importing converted file. And typically what happens there, it is right there. You see it, it's kind of attached to your cursor, and it's the move cursor. So it lets you kind of say, well, where do you want to put that puppy? And I'm going to put it right there. I'm just going to drop it on the floor for now. We'll move it later on once we made a sign out of it. But I just want to show you what you have to do to make that into a 3D push-pullable surface. Right now, what it's done is brought it in as like a whole bunch of little segments. Well, actually, what it's done is brought it in as a group. Let me just orbit to the spot where we can kind of see what we're doing here. And I'm going to grab this, and you'll see what I mean. It's all put together in one big thing, not a push-pullable surface. So first thing I want to do is control-click on that and say explode me. And then what I get are individual pieces. SketchUp really hates building things like curves and loops. So basically what it does is break it up into a million little tiny pieces, which are useless. But what we can do is unify them through this really neat little trick that I just want to show you. Grab the rectangle tool, roll over this thing, kind of get to the point where you can kind of see it really well. Whoopee cushion. I just want to get my orbit tool again here and be able to orbit. Maybe I'll undo that last rectangle and zoom in here where you can really see it well. Grab your rectangle tool, R for rectangle, and just roll over anywhere that touches one of those shapes on that plane. Oh, sorry. I'm also still grouped, I think. Yep, I am. So control and then explode me one more time. And now I've got individual shapes. And now I can get my R for rectangle and say, you, I want you to be a shape. You, doink, I want you to be a shape. And you. So now you can see what it's doing is converting those into fillable shapes. I'm going to come back here and do that again. And that's kind of cool. I like the way that worked. Okay, cool. Even though it's a vertical rectangle, it still worked. So now what I want to, of course, do is get my eraser tool and say, well, this thing I created, I don't want. So I can get rid of that. I can get rid of this stuff that I don't want anymore, and then clean this logo up. And then what I've got are push-pullable surfaces that then I can say, so I'm not going to bore you to tears too much, but you see what I mean. Basically what I've got now are, I better finish that one because it's going to be a mess otherwise. I'll come back in here and get that line, that line, that line, doink, 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 that line, that line. So now I've got my great little schmutz logo. I will then get my push-pull tool and grab that. And so I'm going to pull that up 6 inches, for example. This is a cool trick. Once you've got something that's the right height, grab the next thing, pull it up. I could type a 6 in there, but I could also just pull over here. It's got inference points. So it says if you put your cursor on the height of the other thing, it says, well, you must want to make this the same height. I do. So it will give you that. You don't have to think about it too hard. Snap. Same thing with the Z there. I'm just going to snap it to that height, and it will come up 6 inches as well. Now, of course, what I'm going to do is group this whole thing. Doink, doink, doink. I'm going to grab everybody here. And then I will group this, rotate it, and then put it into place on the side of my booth. On the side of my booth. So I've got that. I can easily use my rotate tool to put that into place. Just spin it upside up, turn it over there, put it where I want it. So hopefully that's something that you know how to do. But I thought this might be a useful thing for you to know how to bring that logo in. I will see you all later, and I'd love to see what you do. So long. Stopping my sharing. And I'm ending the video. That does it. Okay, see you later.